Lisa Matthews, and I'm here today to talk about the 5 key concepts and Wellness Recovery Action Plan, also known as WRAP. Before I start though, I wanted to give you a bit of background of why I'm so passionate about WRAP and why I'm a WRAP educator. I've used services for 16 years, and for about 14 years I've always looked for recovery and looked at websites about my diagnosis and things, and didn't really find very much, but I knew that there was things out there, and about 10 years ago I came across Mary Ellen Copeland and WRAP, and I did some investigation, but it then still took a further 5 years before I ended up becoming a WRAP educator. I've been doing that now for 6 years, nearly 7 years, with a refresher last year in Boston, and I suppose I like the key concepts of WRAP, which are obviously what underpins a WRAP plan. So if I tell you a bit about the key concepts, so the first one is hope, and I think it's crucial to have hope, because when I first used mental health services, hope was taken away from me in a big way. Psychiatrists and other professionals said that, you know, I may as well just give up on my life that I had and just recognise that I would never be the person that I used to be, and that I would never work again, which is actually wrong. And I think, you know, the reason I deliver WRAP sessions is because it empowers people to take control of hope, and it shows that hope is possible. You know, hope is possible in everybody's life, and it's a big element that needs to be there. The second key concept is personal responsibility, and again this is a big one for me, because my personal opinion is if you don't take personal responsibility, then you're not going to get anywhere. And the reason why I say that is because for the first few years of using services, I thought that somebody was going to make me better, whether that be by a pill or by therapy. Then that was their job to do that. It wasn't anything to do with me. I didn't have, you know, I just did what they said, and actually that's not how it works. It's very different to physical illness, and you have to be at the centre of it, and to do that, personal responsibility is a big part of that. We take personal responsibility for things that we do every day. My dog's sitting here with me today. She's one of my supporters, but also I have to take responsibility to feed her and walk her and things. So when somebody talks about personal responsibility or that they don't have it, actually we take that every day. The third key concept is self-advocacy, and that's about having a voice. Again, it's very much like the personal responsibility, they're all interlinked. You have to have a voice, and you have to be able to say what you want. You have a right for services, and you have a right to choose who provides that service or what input you would like to happen to you, or with you, more importantly, because it's not about what they think, it's about what you think will help, because you are the person that knows yourself best. The fourth one is education, and like I said, I'd been looking for solutions for years, and I'd been googling on the internet, which isn't necessarily a good thing. But then when I found some of the books that I did read, I found them quite inspirational, and all of the WRAP stuff as well has helped me become the person I am today. But it's not just about us educating ourselves, it's about learning from other people and other people learning from us. So when I deliver WRAP sessions, there's not a WRAP session that I don't deliver that I don't learn something new every time I deliver it. The last key concept is supporters, and Mary Ellen talks about having 5 supporters, and sometimes that's quite hard for people, but actually you've got to look for the hidden support. As I said, this is Inca, my dog. She's down as one of my supporters. She's a huge support to me when I'm not very well. She's very loving and very caring. I also have people like my best friend, but I have care professionals in there too. And for me, the supporters provide different elements of support. My best friend is a huge support to me all of the time, but when I'm really in crisis, at that point we actually have an agreement that we back off from each other, because it's not fair on her to deal with some of my issues at that time. But then, because we have that agreement set in place and we both discussed it, then that works very well for us. Now, going on from the 5 key concept is actually the stages of a RAP plan. And before, there are 6 stages to a RAP plan, but before that there's wellness tools. Wellness tools can be anything that you can think of, basically, some of the daily things that you want to do every day. I have things like making dinner for my children, so inviting them over and cooking for them, stroking my dog. I have mindfulness on there. I have some therapy elements that I've learned on my wellness tools. It can be absolutely anything you want, and it doesn't actually have to cost anything to do it. But I do have things like swimming and pamper days, or runaway days. On mine it's called, so it's very personal to me. And I have a thing called Happy Wednesdays on mine. So the people who are involved in my RAP plan know exactly what those things mean to me, and people who don't know me don't necessarily need to know those things. The first stage of RAP is daily maintenance planning, and in there there's 3 elements to that. So you have the first stage is what you look like when you're well. It's very important, not only for you but for people around you, to know what you look like when you're well, because a lot of people who you might come into contact with, you might be in crisis and you might not be in a place of wellness at that time. So for me, it's got things like, you know, I can be quite funny, I'm quite passionate, and I do a lot of voluntary work, and I like to go places and be with friends and stuff. It can be as long or as short as you want, but the more information you can put in that bit, the better it is for other people to understand who you are when you're a well person. The next stage of the daily maintenance plan is some of the things that you do on a daily basis. So some people that I've worked with do a checklist where they'll check off whether they've had a shower or they've had breakfast and things. On mine it's got eat 3 meals a day, make sure that I cook, because I know when I'm not cooking that things aren't good for me. It has, you know, walk the dog on and stuff like that, and I know if I'm not doing those things, then there's something astray slightly. And other people have said by doing the tick list that they can actually see that they're not doing some of the things they were doing, but actually that they're still doing something on their daily maintenance plan, which again it can be very helpful. The third stage is actually some of the things that you do maybe on a weekly or a monthly basis. You know, like on my wellness tools, I've got pamper days or runaway weekends. Now I can't do that every day, so those are things that I would pull out if, you know, further down the line, if I wanted a stress release or something like that. The next stage of your RAP plan is triggers. Now, triggers are external, for me, they're external events that generally are out of your control. And triggers can be anything from a smell to an anniversary. And actually, you might not know what a trigger is, and sometimes it takes a long time to work out some of your triggers. I still am working some of my triggers out, but it doesn't mean I can't pull a tool out to help with something that has triggered me. So the next part of the triggers is actually the action plan that goes with that. So the tools that you would have to hand. So I have a small list on my action plan for that one, which is mindfulness, doing things with my dog, or cooking a meal, or just even doing something nice for me, because sometimes just focusing on the here and now and the person you are now can help with some of those issues around the triggers. The next stage of the RAP plan is early warning signs. And for me, early warning signs can be thoughts and feelings. It can be also events as well, but it's mainly the thoughts and the feelings that you start getting. And, you know, I get like quite anxious, or I start feeling anxious. I get that horrible sickly feeling in the bottom of my stomach. And again, I have some tools that I would pull out for that. So I would use some of my tools from my previous one, from my daily maintenance, but I would add more in. Like I might speak to a friend or a supporter about what those feelings are about and where I think they've come from, and have they come from one of the triggers. Or I might speak to a care professional that's involved with my care that knows me quite well. The next stage is when things are breaking down. So when things are breaking down, you've generally just tried doing your daily maintenance stuff. It's not necessarily working. Your early warning signs are there, and things are starting to get worse. So when things are breaking down for me, it's very clear on my RAP plan that some of the things that people can see in me, or that I notice now, is that I buy a lot of bread and milk. Now I don't eat bread, very rarely, and I never buy milk because I don't like it. But when things are breaking down for me, I can go to excess to buy things like that, and then the shopping will increase, and the shopping will be in bags on the floor. And one of my best supporters, my best friend, will say, Miss M, do I need to worry about you now? So it's a huge indicator that things are getting to a point of crisis, which is the next stage in your RAP plan. So a crisis plan has 9 parts to it, but you need to be quite direct in your crisis plan. For me, it's about things that you want to happen and things that you want people to do for you. Some people will describe the crisis rather than actually the elements of what a crisis plan needs to be. You can do both of those things, but the crucial part of your crisis plan is to actually put in at the beginning what I'm like when I'm well again, because you might not want to share the whole of your RAP plan with somebody, but you might want to share the crisis part with them. And again, it's very important to include as many people as you can in this part of the plan, because they're the people that are going to actually be implementing some of these things for you. So the first part, like I say, is what I'm like when I'm well. So you just take that from your daily maintenance plan. The second part are the symptoms, or the distress that you might feel. What sort of things happen to you when you're in crisis? How do you feel about them? I'm just going to move my dog over. The third part is supporters. Which supporters would you want involved in at this time? Like I say, one of my best friends and best supporters at this point will help me to a point, but then we have an agreement that she backs down, because it's not fair on her and it can be quite draining. So I have specific guidelines and specific jobs for all of my carers, supporters, even down to the dog. So I keep the dog as long as I can when I'm in crisis, but then if it gets to a point where I'm in hospital, she has to go and visit my sons. Also in the supporters bit, it's crucial to not just put who you want to be involved, but who you don't want to be involved. and actually name those people and what relationship they have with you, so that doesn't impact on your care and your treatment while you're in crisis. The fourth part is the medical information. So you would put your doctor's details, and I have my pharmaceutical details on there. I also have what medications I take, what medical conditions I actually have, because it's not just my mental health. Obviously I suffer with physical health problems too, and it's nice for them to know that there are other contraindicators there. You can include all the complementary therapies or over-the-counter prescription drugs that you might take. So list all of your prescription drugs and any non-prescription drugs that you might take, because that could be helpful for people to know that that's what you like to do. Also, part 5 is the treatments. What treatments would you want to happen to you, and what treatments might you not want to happen to you? I wouldn't want things like ACT or antipsychotic medication given to me, and that's very clear in my RAP plan. And then there is, I'm just shifting my dog over slightly, basically a home and community treatment. So on my RAP plan I've got that I would prefer to stay in the community rather than hospital, but that I know that hospital might not be an option for me. But if I was to stay at home, what kind of who I would like to be involved, and for me that would be my supporters, and eventually maybe a crisis service in the local area. Then the next part is actually which hospitals you might want to be admitted to and not admitted to, and that's a crucial part for me, because on mine I've got actually that I wouldn't want to be admitted to a certain ward and a certain hospital, but I've actually said why I wouldn't want to do that, because the more information you can put in, the more chance you've got of them not actually putting you there or giving you a good enough reason why they think they should put you there. Then the next part is I can't say it. Sorry. The next part is the help that you might want from others. So you might want people to, like, I need somebody to look after my dog, and I have an agreement with my son that he will look after Inca for me. Also, you know, my neighbour has a key to check on the house if I'm in hospital and things. But also when I'm in hospital and stuff, I need people to be able to bring me stuff, because obviously I can't just go home and pick that stuff up. And then the last part of your crisis plan is actually about when or how will people know when you're ready, that you're back to wanting to take over things yourself again. So it's best to be able to write down some of the things that you would want people to recognise that you are able to take control again. So for me it's got, you know, when I take Inca back, then I'm ready to start taking control. When I start doing things in the house, I start doing my shopping on my own, then that shows that actually I'm ready to take that control back. The last stage in your RAP plan is post-crisis planning. Now for me, I love post-crisis planning. I use it a lot if I've been in hospital and things. And an element of that is about allowing yourself to have time to get better. I used to think that I could come out of hospital and I could just start doing everything without, like, jump straight back into the life that I was in before I went into crisis. And actually I have to allow myself to have time to do that, and to get used to the idea that I've actually been quite poorly. But the other element of the post-crisis planning is about reflection, and I like the reflection bit because it gives me a chance to work out, working backwards, sometimes where the crisis began and what it was about, and at what point during the stages did things sort of go wrong for me at this point. And it allows me then to re-evaluate my RAP plan and see if there's anything that I need to add to any of the sections or to take out of the sections. There's no right or wrong answer to a rap plan. I think that for a few years I used to get my triggers and my early warning signs mixed up. But actually, when you're using your rap plan, it shows that, you know, it's a working document, and that it's yours and it's personal to you. So thank you.